welcome to Daily Faith today. Boy, do we have a show for you. Have you ever had someone that sees the world as you see it, but you don't speak and they do? And when they do speak, it kind of affirms all the inner beliefs that you've had. Well, I'll never forget one day I was driving along the road in my car and I had the radio on, and as I was listening, just kind of in the background, I wasn't really paying attention. And then I've told you this before, and this voice came on with a real bumptious kind of voice, with talent on loan from God. This is the EIB network, and I'm Rush Limbaugh. And he began to speak stuff that I'd never had other folk talk about before. He verbalized what my guts were telling me about America and what needed to happen. And I believe that we need those affirmation voices in our lives to let us know that God has a purpose and a plan. And all the mess and the melee we've gone through in the last 4 years, it has been embarrassing. And I'm telling you now, you better get ready, because as these doors open and the dark places of government are opened up to truth and light, you're going to hear some stuff that's going to make your hair curl. Promise you. There's been stuff going on in this country that is as bad or worse than in China or in Russia. We point to them. Let me tell you something. The finger's about to point home to us, and you're going to see how utterly depraved a lot of our government has been. And I'm filled with hope. I'm excited. I believe that God is going to redeem and restore. I believe a revival's coming in America, and expectation. When you have faith, when you believe God for something, it's like when a baby is at his mother's breast. That baby pulls the milk because of the demand. And I believe that in America right now, there's a whole bunch of folk that are pulling from God the answers and the resources to meet this country's need. And my guest today is I just can't wait to let you meet him, because he's involved in the policing of this country. He's written a book that I'm going to talk to you about, and he's involved in this whole new wave that's coming into Washington, D.C., and he's been in Mar-a-Lago just recently, and there's a whole bunch of stuff. You need to call your friends, call your pastor, because you need to start talking from the pulpit that it's time for a revival and we need a reformation in America. And we just are so excited to have you with us. If you could, if you're watching us on social media, hit your share button. It'll be great. And there's a bell you can touch, and every time we come on the air, it'll alert and let you know we're coming on the air. And so please be a part of us. We're also on YouTube. If you want to go there and watch any programs we have, it's really simple, youtube.com/Daily Faith. And also dailyfaith.tv is like our home base. And all the programs we've done are stored there, and you can go and archive them there and see what we've been talking about. Pretty much anything that you're going through, we've been talking about to somebody in the past. And so we are just absolutely delighted. Now, another thing, when you go to Daily Faith, we have got a whole bunch of merchandise there regarding Orphans' Hands. This ministry is in 2 parts, more than 2 parts actually. I preach and travel. And then we have a Daily Faith program that I'm talking to you on today. This is like a warm-up part of the program. And then we have Orphans' Hands. And Orphans' Hands is a ministry that we started 35 years ago when I adopted a little boy from an orphanage in Romania. It took me a year to adopt him. And by the time I got there, I was hooked on helping these kids. And now we have homes there. We'll be talking about in the program. And so there's these three areas and branches of our ministry. And I know you'll be interested in all that God's allowing us to do. We are just delighted to have you with us. We're delighted to have Michael Letts with us as our guest. Welcome to Daily Faith. Hey, my friend, welcome to Daily Faith. I am so glad you are with us today. We have got a great show. As you can see behind me, Christmas is in the air. My wife, Chrissy, loves Christmas. We are almost there right now. And I came in last night and she was still putting up Christmas decorations. I've got a feeling this woman's going to decorate all the way up to Christmas Eve and then start taking them down again. And I think she gets as much joy as putting them up as actually them being up. And so we had a great day yesterday. I was out with my granddaughter, my eldest granddaughter, Ali. She's 15. And she absolutely robbed me blind. I picked her up from school early because she was finished early. And she says, Granddad, can we go to Walmart? Went to Walmart. After Walmart, Dad, I would like a coffee. Can we go to Starbucks? Starbucks. Went to Starbucks. And literally, she spent my time and spent my money all day, and we had a fabulous time. Look, we have a great show today, and I want you to if you've got some friends that are interested in the battle for the soul of America, you're going to love this program today. I mean that. Years ago, I adopted a wee boy in Romania. His name was Andre when I adopted him, and he is now a grown man with a beautiful wife and a lovely new granddaughter. And God used that experience that I had. I went there and saw the mess of this orphanages, and the year it took to adopt him, we put in toilets. They had no toilets. The roofs leaked. The beds were painted with lead paint, and we did the whole thing. And God's used us since that time for the last 35 years to help orphans and now desperately poor kids that are the result of a war going on in Ukraine, and it's affected the whole region. We have a place, an amazing place called Vatra Village, and it is on the shores of the largest lake in Moldova. And there it is. And the kids, instead of them being put on the street and traffickers getting them, they come to our homes. We put them back in school. We tell them, if you're born, God has a plan for your life. You're not a mistake. You can do anything you want. And God is showing and giving us amazing results. Every girl you see in that video right now, if the trafficker gets her, she's worth $300,000 a year to the trafficker. And I just don't think that's the will of God. And we have this amazing place. We've also got a home in Odessa, Ukraine, that we've had there for 8 years, long before the war started. And so we're just amazed at what God is doing. And the other day they sent me a video of them decorating the Christmas tree in each of the houses of Vatra Village. Watch this.
Hi, my name is Nicoleta, and this is my first Christmas here at Vatra Village.
My name is Artyom. This is my first Christmas at Vatra Village.
Hi, my name is Alexandra. Because of you, I got the chance to celebrate Christmas with such a big family.
Hello, my name is Roma. Merry Christmas.
Goodness, oh my goodness, I love it, I love it, I love it. Most of those kids have never had Christmas before. We took 25 new kids in this last September. and most have never had Christmas. You imagine living in poverty. In these houses we've built them to American standards, and they're beautiful. God spoke to me and says, when you treat an orphan, you're treating one of my children. And they live in a nicer house than I do, but to see the joy of what God is doing in their lives. And as I said, we put them back into school. The crazy thing is one of these houses have house parents, and every house parent was once an orphan themselves. Now they're married. In fact, many of the kids we rescued 20 years ago, 17 years ago, and now they're married themselves with their own wives and their own kids, or their own husbands and their own kids. And then they'll continue the ministry for us over there. It is just amazing. We'd love you to help us. There's an issue right now that's facing us that is critical. In these villages, the most horrendous conditions you've ever seen in your life. It's like Africa with minus 30 degrees below zero. There's no street lamps, there's no sidewalks, there's no running water in the houses. And they battle all through the winter time to survive. Part of the outreach of our kids at Vatra Village is that they adopt one village. One house adopts one village, finds out all the widows in the village, all the broken families. We'll go and dig up the garden and plant flowers or vegetables rather for the springtime to come, for them to have food, clean their homes, care for families, bring them food. And right now at this time of year, there is a real crisis coming called winter time. And many times the weather can get down as low as 30 degrees below zero. And our kids go out and care for these families. We bring them new clothes, warm boots, coats, food. And we've been given an opportunity that I think is just amazing. We found a place that makes up industrial-sized bags of wood, chopped wood, pre-chopped wood, so a widow doesn't have to chop the wood. And those bags, someone told me yesterday that they're over here that cost like $120, $150. I can get one of these bags. Now this isn't for a gift of $65. These bags are costing us $65 each bag. But each bag will give a widow a month's supply of wood, or a family a month's supply of wood. And we've pre-ordered 100 of them. And we are hoping and praying that you can help us and say, Philip, I'll take care of one of those bags. I'll take care of 10 of those bags. And by doing so, you can really, really affect the quality of life for someone that has suffered under communism. Moldova was under the Soviet Union for many, many years. After the last World War, the Soviet Union annexed Moldova into the Soviet Empire. When it fell apart, this weak country was spit out by itself. It's neither in the West, it's neither in the East. And it is the poorest country in Europe, highest population percentage of alcoholism in the world, biggest misery index in the world. And God has put us there right in the middle of all this pain to show the love of Jesus. And I'm asking you could help us by giving a gift today. We can buy one bag of wood in your name. So someone that is sitting just now dreading tomorrow, hoping that the freeze doesn't start. And we can get there before that happens with your help and your hope. You can contact us. It's really simple. You can just make a check out to the orphans' hands. It's on the screen. P.O. Box 25, Clinton, Tennessee, 37716. And by giving a gift, you can change your life. You can also go to dailyfaith.tv, and there's a giving page there. And by doing so, you're helping us. It's direct. It's the quickest way. And you can also dial 833, and then you dial Daily Faith on your phone. And a real live, honest-to-goodness person will pick up the phone and talk to you. And together, wouldn't it be great? I mean, we can get more than 100. We can get 500. We just need the support to make that happen. And if you can make that happen, I know this: what you make happen for someone else, the hearth of your heart will never be cold. And so please watch it. I really believe there are folks that are businessmen and women that could say, listen, Philip, we'll give 100 bags, $6,500. We'll give 20 bags. Whatever you feel led to do, let the Lord talk to your heart and be obedient to Him. And if you do, I promise you, when you give to the poor, you lend to the Lord. And we are just so excited for you to be a part with us. I got a great guest today. I'm really intrigued by this fella, because he is in the right side of what's happening right now in America. He's involved in the best way I think we'll do is let him explain to us what he's involved in, because I think he's going to bless your heart to let you know that these kind of men are an authority in our country. His name is Michael Letts. He's author and founder and president and CEO of Invest USA, and out of Columbia, South Carolina. Michael, I am absolutely delighted and honored to have you on Daily Faith today. How are you doing, my brother?
I'm doing great, Philip. The honor and privilege is mine, and I'm so pleased by what I've been hearing you say, especially with the orphans' hands. You know, one of the key things, I got to put this out there with the new administration, and talking with Tom Harmon, and Tom is going to be our border czar.
Yes.
And of course, first thing we're going to do is make sure we secure the American people from the drug dealers, the cartels, terrorists, the criminals that we call her. But one key element that's been a national stain on this country
sir. I know you're going to say
trafficking.
Trafficking.
And we have over 500,000 children missing. That's 500,000 children missing, Philip.
Unbelievable.
I have been involved in raids where we have freed these children that we've come up to. And I can't tell you the emotions that you feel when these little kids run and grab you, for they're scared to begin with because you're in tactical gear. They're but once they realize you've come to save them from a life of being, they don't just use them for pickpockets. They torture them. They mutilate them. They pimp them out. I can't describe to you the horror these children go through. So when they realize they're finally safe, when they grab onto your leg, what a feeling. But here's the issue where I'm so intrigued by what you were saying, Philip. Once we recover them, we have to find if their parents are still alive and return them. Many are not. Many we can't locate. And so we have to find how are we going to maintain these children to keep them from being exploited. And we have to have people willing to adopt. We have to begin to look at a life, a future for these kids. I'm so excited that we are going to deal with this national sin and national stain as a top priority in this country now. And I was just listening to you saying, wow, I'm going to get with Philip afterwards. We're going to figure out how to partner and make sure that we can help provide and protect some more of these children that we're going to be free all across the country.
I believe that there are Christian families that would love to take one of these kids in and restore their hearts. The thing that we found, Michael, when the kids come to us from the orphanage, they've been abused in the orphanage, they've been abused before they got to the orphanage. And the first thing we do is we'll tell them, look, you're not a mistake, because the workers in the orphanage, every day, you're a mistake. Your mother doesn't want you, your father doesn't want you. And I'll say, you're not a mistake, you're a miracle, you're not a mistake. And we get them. Part of the miracle of us giving away the wood and all the stuff that our kids do, they have youth camps all year long. And what we've discovered, if we can get these kids to give something away, it breaks the orphan spirit inside them. And so this coal, this wood rather, that we're giving away, it's a twofer. It's blessing the folk that receive it, but it's giving these kids a chance to say, hey, I'm an answer, I'm not a problem. And it is absolutely amazing. I want you to tell the folks, tell me how you got involved in what you're doing right now, because you really are at the cutting edge of this revolution and reformation that's taking part in America right now. Give us an update.
Well, I come from, my father was a missionary. I lived in Guadalajara, Mexico. Went to Liberty University, was Jerry Falwell's assistant from there. And then, I got involved politically. I served on council for 30-some years. Part of me serving on council was I discovered that our first responders didn't have the necessary vests that they needed to protect themselves. They didn't have bulletproof vests. And so we created a charity just for that area that I was in Colombia. And quickly, the media got hold of it and found out about it, expanded the message. We've been all over the country ever since. Haven't been able to find an exit strategy, quite frankly, but not looking for one.
I'm the same.
Here's something else. I love what you said, Philip. If you devote your life to service, you'll have purpose and you'll have fulfillment such as you've never known.
True. And absolutely. So you're telling me that in the richest country in the world, that the men and women that are on the front line to protect us don't have bulletproof vests and equipment to protect themselves as they're protecting us? Is that what you're telling me?
That's exactly right, Phil. Let me give you the statistics of what we're looking at. When we first started this in 1993, over 30 years ago, 52% of cops had no protection at all.
Unbelievable.
We got that down to basically 18%. But that was with the old technology. It's called a concealable vest. You see them wear them under their shirts,
Yeah.
under their. Those vests were meant for just being able to stop a pistol round. Because back in those days, you weren't proud of being a criminal. You were going to go rob a store, you hid the gun underneath your pistol, underneath your shirt before you did anything with it.
Yeah.
Now we're in a different society. We have cartels, gangs that take great pride in torturing and just murdering and killing any way they can to create a sense of fear so that you don't challenge what they do. To do that, they use AK-47s, long-range rifles. It'll go right through a concealable vest.
Sure. Oh,
So
yeah.
10 years ago, we had to create new technology. They're called active shooter vests. They have titanium plates. It will stop anything. But unfortunately, because of the fact it's relatively new, it's about 10 years old, but only 10% have the vest. 90% of officers on the street do not. Now, here's the critical part, Philip. We are fixing to engage in the next 30 days. We're going to ask these brave young men and women to be the tip of the spear as we go in to clean up crime, drug cartels. All I can promise you that those kind of people are not sitting on the corner with a little lunch bill waiting for a bus to take them home. They're going to resist. They don't care. They come from a country where they kill each other anyway.
Absolutely.
They're going to resist, and they're going to be fighting against our brave men and women, and they don't have the necessary equipment. They're going to be better equipped than our cops are. We've got to change that, and that's why we're making a plea. We're making a push to make sure every officer on the front line has an active shooter vest to defend himself and go home safely to his family. They have children too, you know, Philip.
We talk so much about all these brave men, but very rarely we put our money where our mouth is. And we think the government takes care of all this. And you're telling me that only 10% of our guys and gals have got a sufficient armor to go against all of these gangs that are running. I mean, listen, folks, I'm telling you, you're gonna watch a war take place. Because as Michael says, these guys aren't going to say, "Oh, we're sorry. We'll go back. We'll go back to Venezuela. We'll go back to Mexico. Oops, we're sorry." They're going to fight every inch of the way, and the billions of dollars that they're making off of fentanyl, a whole lot of that money is going into buying their armaments. They're getting ready, and you have an organization called Invest USA. Invest USA, and if you're watching just now and you love the guys in blue and the men that are going to be fighting and the women that are going to be fighting this war, it's really simple. Just invest.com. .org. Sorry, investusa.org. See that there? How much does one of these vests cost? Have you any ideas of that?
Yeah, we get them wholesale. We get them for $700, which is, they typically run, an agency will pay anywhere from $1,200 to $1,300 a piece.
Wow.
We get them for $700. We just, buy them, hand them out, buy them and hand them out. It's just, of course, we have more requests than we could ever get to.
Sure.
But what scares me, Philip, is we're fixing to ask these men and women, many of them will pay the ultimate price to make this country safe again.
Yeah.
The least we can do. But here's what I tell people. I'm excited that we have the men and women that are willing to do it, because what do they sense? They sense now in the next 4 years that we have a spiritual awakening coming to this country.
Yes,
people will once again be restored with respecting law and order. They will be rightfully given the due respect that they so rightly deserve.
Yes.
They can sense that people want to return back to standards, to values and principles. And that's what I write in my book. The whole problem that we're having where we're at today is we abandon the principles and values of Scripture that made this country great.
Absolutely.
And the great thing about it is we can return. God always gives us the ability, after repentance, His mercy and grace to come back.
Now,
we're poised to do that, Philip.
Talk about this. Your book is really important. It's called Truth, Lies, and Control, Finding Hope in an Upside Down World. And let me tell you, folks, we have been in an upside down world in the last 4 years. And before that, we had a Trump administration. We kind of tried to right the ship, and the ship got halfway over, and it reverted back again. But before that, you had Obama and the mess. And personally, I think that Obama is more guilty than Biden. He set the thing out and put lipstick on the pig, as it were. And the truth of the matter is that this country has suffered desperately because of the policies and the mindset that they put out in place. Tell us about this book, because I know if you're watching just now and you're a pastor, if you're a housewife, if you're a businessman, I don't care who you are, you need information. Information is power. When you know what's going on, if you're in a room and you know where the door is, and other people don't know where the door is, and there's an attack, you're way ahead of everybody else because you know the way to get out. This book is a door in a foggy room to help you get out. It will inform you as to where the battle's being fought at the moment. Tell us about the book.
Well, the book basically gives us our history. How did we get to where we're at today?
Wow. Yeah.
And of course, how we abandoned the principles, how we've taught our children. When I say we've taught our children, that's been part of the problem. We don't teach our children anymore.
Yes.
Scripture commands that, the education comes from the Father. We quickly decided after World War II that we had done all we needed to do. We wanted to just have it good, have it our own way. So we gave that responsibility to the government.
Yep.
And of course, what did the government do? They kicked God out. When they kicked God out, here's what they did. They interpret that anything that has any kind of relationship to Scripture had to be bad. So any values, all principles and values come from God.
Crazy.
So we eliminated principles and values, period. Then we wonder why kids are so confused. We tell them they don't know whether they're man or woman or boy or girl. We don't tell them there's anything right or wrong. We tell them there's no respect for life. There's no value. Look at the abortion issue. There's no value in life. And we got to a real mess. And quite frankly, it's been going on for decades. You're right. President Trump, in his first term, started to make the thing. But I believe that God had a plan.
Yeah.
God knew that the American people really didn't understand the depths of depravity this country had gone to.
Yeah.
And so while President Trump served his first term, God allowed Biden to come in and begin to really show Americans how pride this country had gotten and how destructive it was. I thought it was interesting over the last 4 years, going back and forth across the country, handing out vests, doing speeches, making presentations. Not one person has ever come up to me and said, I'm so glad I'm living in the times we are now. This is great. They've all come to me and said, how did we get to where we're at? What a mess.
Wow.
God had caused the devil to be used so that people realize how bad evil is. And now they're ready and they're willing to make a change. Let's call the churches. And I tell this in the book. The biggest problem that we had is the churches got us to this point.
Yes, sir.
The churches did not do what God called us to do, and that's to stand for truth. Churches decided to be a social club. I'd rather, be careful what I say, see how many members I get. God didn't call us for that. Stand for truth. Truth will always prevail if we stand for truth.
Michael, you are talking my language. You're exactly right. You're 100% right. We tried to win a popularity contest, and God is not in the popularity business. He is God. He is supreme. He is not up for election. He is the King of Kings, and we only succeed when we follow His will and His law. I just want, we would less than 3 minutes left. I want to talk to you, watching me just now. We are about to go into a season. Right now, there's the shock in the Democratic Party about what's happened and how America swung away from their nonsense to this hope that we now have. But what's going to happen in the next few weeks and months as this thing unfolds? They'll start shouting and screaming and crying and tearing down and trying to hinder and block. And you need to stay your ground. You need to stand fast in the truth that God has put in your heart. And information is your power. And this book, Truth, Lies, and Control, Finding Hope in an Upside Down World, has never been more needed than it is today. And you can get that book. You can go on Amazon, it's there. But if you want to go to www.investusa.org, there you go. If you go to that website, and if you make a donation to help buy one of these vests, these super vests that we have available to our men and women now, if you make a donation to that, Michael will send you the book as a gift, as an appreciation for you being a part in helping him put these armor vests on our officers. And I just encourage you, I can't tell you enough, investusa.org. give a gift of 100 or 500 or buy one. You imagine, tell your kids, we have bought an armor vest for an officer that when they go and try and clean up the mess on our streets and these gangs, they're going to be protected. Their heart is going to be protected. And your heart needs to be protected in the world we live in. Michael, thank you so much. Anything else we need to invite the folk to help? We've got less than a minute.
I will follow up on what you said. Folks, what you'll see in the next 4 years of this administration is we just want people to be held accountable.
Yeah.
So make sure we're all held accountable. When you have the opportunity to speak the truth, speak it.
Speak it.
And make sure that when you see other people being held accountable, that's just what God calls us to do. When you commit a sin, you need to be held accountable for it and know what the consequences are. And that's coming. They're scared to death of it, but we're going to deliver.
I can't wait. I can't wait. Thank you so much for being with us today, Michael. And once again, investusa.org. We love you guys. We appreciate you helping us in Moldova and Ukraine and also being part of investusa.org. Today is the day that we're going to start turning this thing around. Thank you for watching
Amen.
Daily Faith, my friend. We are glad you're part of our family. We'll see you again. Bye-bye.
For over 25 years, the Cameron family has been changing the lives of orphans in Romania and Moldova. From providing running water, flushing toilets, and clean wells, to coal for heat, new windows, as well as food and clothing. They champion the physical needs of the orphans in these broken and desolate countries. Many of Moldova's orphans are saved from the horrors of trafficking through homes founded by the Camerons, and in the process, orphans become daughters and sons. They come to know their Heavenly Father and are forever changed by the love of Jesus. God help the Camerons lift these amazing young men and women out of darkness. Now, no longer orphans, they want to return and invade that very same darkness with the light of Jesus Christ. The Orphan's Hands equips these daughters and sons to become missionaries. Your monthly gift of $31 will allow us to rescue and take in more girls and boys, saving them from the hell of human trafficking. Your monthly partnership will allow us to care for those in the Orphan's Hands homes in Moldova and the Ukraine. If you want to join Philip and Chrissy in taking care of these precious young people, please contact us today by calling 833-DAILY-FAITH. You can also give by going online to www.dailyfaith.tv or by writing to Post Office Box 25, Clinton, Tennessee 37716. So many lives depend on what we do. Thank you for loving the lost.